What's going on, guys? Today we're going to break down all evidence from My Hero Academia that indicates Dabi will steal an Ice Quirk before his final fight with Endeavour. Manga spoiler warning ahead, but we all know throughout the series there's been a lot of foreshadowing for certain events, whether it be All Might's death, Midoriya mastering all his quirks, or Dabi being Toya Todoroki, which turned out to be true. Recently in the manga, we got strong foreshadowing for something else that's bound to happen, and that is Endeavour and Shoto going head to head against Touya himself. In chapter 302, Ray straight up says you have no choice but to fight Dabi, and a few chapters later the villain makes it clear he's ready to go even further than he did during the war. To me, this indicates two things. Number one, they are going to fight, and number two, in order for Touya to go even further and actually kill them this time, he'll need to have some kind of physical upgrade. Even the most hardcore Dabi fan would have to admit that right now, he has no chance of beating his dad in a real fight. I mean, during the war it was different because Endeavour was so shocked he couldn't move a muscle, but the next time they meet, I doubt it will be the same thing. In chapter 301, a doctor revealed that Dabi's physique is better suited for an ice quirk, as he was born to withstand freezing temperatures instead of the intense flames he produces. That's why he always has burns after a fight, and in this way, Horikoshi has made a character that simply can't win against the one man he's so desperate to beat. His flames might be the hottest, however his technique just isn't on the same level as the top hero, and even if it was, his body can't handle the fire for too long. Things will have to change for him before he faces his father again, and with Shigaraki now having the power of All for One, it's within his abilities to steal the quirk of one person and pass it to another. For the rest of the video, we're about to break down who the quirk will be taken from, how Touya might use it, and why this will ruin Endeavour's life. Before we get into it though, be sure to smash that sub button and notification bell if you want to see more stuff like this, and drop a like as it does help out the channel. Okay, so starting with how Dabi might use an ice quirk, there are at least two different kinds that we need to consider. On one hand, you have ice powers like Shoto's that enable the user to generate ice from their own body, and then on the other hand you have people like Getten who can manipulate ice in various ways, but seemingly can't produce it from nothing. For those that might not know, Getten is a long-time member of the Liberation Army, and his ice manipulation allows him to control the temperature of ice, as well as its movement and its shape. Either of these abilities would be suited to Dabi given that his body is literally built for this, so the question is which one would suit him best, and in my opinion it would be this one, because by generating ice he can use it to cool himself down. By using ice to counteract the negative effects of his fire, Touya would be able to use flames for an extended period of time, not to mention he can stop doing that thing where he just keeps on talking to give himself time to recover. Additionally, it gives him more options to attack with, including the heaven-piercing ice wall, and obviously attacks that combine both ice and fire. This would make Dabi equal to Endeavour during their next battle, as although his dad has the better technique, he would have the superior flames and better stamina when it comes to overheating. Contrastingly, if he was to steal Getten's power, he wouldn't be able to internally cool himself down in the same way. Plus, from a strategic point of view, it makes no sense for the villains to make one of their strongest people quirkless. Getten had mastered his power after years and years of training, so to take it from him and give it to the untrained Dabi would probably be the stupidest thing they could do. In theory, I guess if they free Shigaraki, he could make a duplicate version of Getten's quirk and then give that copy to Touya, but there is a much easier way for him to get an upgrade. Within the Todoroki family, there are three potential candidates who could have their ice quirks transferred to Dabi, and those are Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsuo. Starting with Rei, it's all but confirmed that her ability is the exact same as Shoto's ice creation, as we saw her use it to cool his face down after she threw the boiling water. During the sports festival, Shoto also explicitly referred to his icy side as her quirk, which is something you wouldn't really say unless it's the same. On top of that, when Endeavour was younger, he was looking for someone to have a quirk marriage with, and it stands to reason that he only approached Rei in the first place because she has such a great power. Moving on to Fuyumi now, chapter 291 stated that she inherited that same quirk, but naturally Endeavour didn't train her since he wanted a child who had ice and fire. Natsuo was born years later, and while it's not outright said what his quirk is, everything implies that he generates ice like everyone else. This means Dabi has several options when choosing which Todoroki to steal a quirk from, and whoever he picks would likely be the one that would hurt Endeavour the most. The Paranormal Liberation War proves that Touya feels nothing for anyone in the Todoroki family, as he even regretted that Natsuo wasn't killed by one of the villains he sent to their location. So all that matters to him is hurting Endeavour, and he'll do whatever he can to make that happen, whether it's killing Shoto, revealing the truth about their past, or stealing the quirk of someone he loves. The villains easily have enough resources to kidnap one member of the Todorokis and harvest their quirk, and I think Endeavour would be most hurt if they kidnapped Fuyumi. I say this because she was always the one trying to hold the family together when everything was a mess, and she was also usually the one sibling who tried to get along with their dad. If Fuyumi is held hostage by the Liberation Front, then she likely tried to get through to her brother and make him see what he's doing is wrong. However, given that he's a crazy person, I doubt it'll make much of a difference. Shigaraki could then upgrade Dabi by doing a quirk transfer using All for One, and part of me thinks she would allow it to be taken without putting up any resistance. She'd know she has no chance fighting back against the villains, and on some level I think Fuyumi understands why Touya is trying to hurt Endeavour, even if she doesn't agree with his methods. After the transfer is done, they'd likely keep her as a hostage to use as leverage against the number 1 hero, because if they threaten to kill her or turn her into a Nomu, then it might make Endeavour hesitate. Anyway, with Fuyumi's eyes, Touya would become a mirror image of Shoto, as they both possess the exact same capabilities. Whereas one sibling is the natural-born creation that Endeavour wanted, Dabi could be the evil Frankenstein version that's the result of his terrible parenting. From a young age, Touya was told he had the potential to surpass All Might, only to then be told he couldn't be a hero once he started getting burns, and in his mind, his father replaced him with Shoto. This is funny because Ray warned Endeavour that having more kids to make them heroes would be too painful for Touya, but he went and did it anyway, and icy-hot Dabi could be the final consequence of that decision. When they come face to face, he could taunt his father over the fact he stole Fuyumi's quirk, and that would definitely make Endeavour suffer more than anything Touya has done so far. By playing these mind games, Dabi could throw the number 1 hero off his game and, make him unfocused, and this could potentially create an opening for Dabi to kill him. I think it'd be the most poetic ending if Enji was killed by the very same hybrid ability that he was so desperate for his kids to have, and if he does die, then it would pave the way for these two to go 1v1. Shoto would of course be more skilled with his icy side, whereas Dabi would be the reverse, so it'd make for a pretty interesting encounter. Let me know in the comments down below, do you think Touya will take Fuyumi's ice quirk, or do you think it's more likely he'll go for someone else instead? Whatever you think, thank you for watching, and be sure to hit that sub button as I'd appreciate your support on the road to 400k. Until the next one, peace out.